I gotta wait. How long I gotta wait for a press record?
Go.
Welcome to the stand, where Miss Dream always has a story.
It's Dream, and we got a season 2. Your Black Bostonian here, a product of a single mother who I work to make proud every single day. I'm a 3-degree holder, your veteran educator, your tech entrepreneur, and founder of the Chair platform. My platform is dedicated to supporting Black and Brown people on their hair journey by creating hair boards, connecting to hairstylists, and sharing haircare tips for a more joyous experience. My podcast is about sharing hair stories, educator stories, entrepreneurship stories, and stories surrounding identity with goals to leave you laughing, learning, and advocating. So come in and listen to the stories in the chair.
Where we share stories in the chair.
Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to our round table. My name is Dream. I am your host, educator, tech entrepreneur, and podcaster. And again, roundtables are always been my goal. More voices at the table, more nuances being discovered and uncovered. And today we have a nursing roundtable. Black women in New England, specifically talking about their experiences in Massachusetts and New Hampshire. And so I'm really excited. So what we're going to do is we're going to go around and do introductions. The nurses are going to say their name, the titles that they've held in the past and they currently hold, and where they're aiming to go, and their favorite ice cream flavor.
Hey everybody, my name is Nablaj. I'm currently an LPN. My healthcare career kind of started young. I was always in the beginning. I did like HHA, kind of going to elderly people's houses and helping them with groceries. I started nursing school, and I became a CNA, which is like a certified nursing assistant. You know, cleaning residents, changing them, feeding them, and now I'm an LPN, which is licensed practical nurse. I've been LPN for maybe 3.5 years now. And my ultimate goal, as of now in this moment, is to become a CRNA. It's a nurse anesthetist. So, yeah. But if that doesn't work out, then I'll probably be an actress or become a masseuse. And one of my favorite ice cream flavors at the moment is maybe coconut. Yes, hold the dairy, you know. Yes.
Hi, my name is Abang. I'm currently an LPN. Previously, I was a CNA for 3 years. My future plans is to become a registered nurse, hopefully a travel nurse. And my favorite ice cream flavor is mint chocolate chip.
Okay.
Hi, everybody. My name is Dorain. I'm currently a registered nurse. Prior to becoming a nurse, I worked as a pharmacy technician, working at retail stores like CVS, and also sterile compounding IVs in the hospital. Currently, I work as a travel ICU nurse. Initially, my goal was to become a CRNA, but right now I feel like I've headed in a different direction, and I currently have my own nail business, and we're just planting that little seed and hoping it grows, and that's my goal. My favorite ice cream flavor has already been mentioned. It's actually coconut.
Okay.
Well, thank you all for joining me today on this roundtable. And I'm so excited to really get into the nursing world with all of you. So, can you start with telling me why nursing?
Oof. It's crazy because, I prayed for this. And now I'm just like, okay. But yeah, I guess I'll start. So I guess I grew up in a family where everyone was in the medical field. My uncle, MRI tech, my other uncle, nurse, my aunt's a nurse, everyone a nurse. My grandfather was actually a CRNA in Nigeria before they immigrated to the US, and then he became a pharmacist. So I'm like, okay, I got some CRNA in the bloodline. But yeah, initially, you know, I feel like I'm a caregiver by heart. And as I was young, I felt like, you know, hey, might as well take care of people and be a nurse. And everyone's like, oh yeah, the money. And so I'm like, the money and I get to take care of people? Wow, this is a dream come true. Yeah, so, and then my mom gave birth to my beautiful little brother 15 years ago now. And I was there, I cut the umbilical cord, and it was pretty great. I loved the rush and the excitement and just kind of problem solving that I seen the other nurses do. And I was like, wow, I can see myself like in this kind of leadership role and like just helping people. So overall, like financial stability and kind of helping people really kind of drove me to become a nurse.
Kind of the same story. I grew up with multiple family members that were already nurses. My mom's a nurse. My aunt and uncle are also nurses. They typically work in the rehab long-term care sector. But for me, I always had a hope of doing critical care. I actually had an experience at work one day where a patient was picking up medication for their seizures, and they had a seizure while waiting for their medication. Unfortunately, they stopped breathing, and I rushed and started doing CPR while we waited for EMS, and that was the moment I realized I wanted to do critical care. So I always, at that point, started researching, realized that I had certain steps that I wanted to take if I wanted to become a CRNA as well, and critical care is one of those steps. So kind of on the road path there, but I don't know if CRNA is the end goal for me anymore, but it's definitely, I do love critical care. I got into nursing because one, exposure. When I was a little kid, my mom was in nursing school when I was in preschool. So I was already exposed to the textbooks, and I always loved helping people, helping my mom, helping my cousins, stuff like that. So it just felt like the natural path to go on. And here we are. I love it. It does give you a nice work-life balance, which is great. And as previously mentioned, financial stability is always a nice thing to keep over your head, but just being able to take care of people and watch them grow, and when they're in their worst points, you get to see them get better, and that's what makes it worth it to me.
So for me, originally, nursing wasn't my passion. So, but I started working as like a CNA, and from there, I just wanted to, you know, move to the next step, because it's like I wanted to do more. Because, you know, of course, you're not limited, but I felt like I was limited in helping. It's like you can relay the message, and it's like after that, what can happen? Like, so I was like, I just felt like I wanted to do more. So that's when I became interested in becoming a nurse, and I love it. I love my job. I love what I do, and that's how I became a nurse.
Especially being a CNA, right?
Yeah.
And then seeing the nurses you work with, and you're like, dang, they're sitting down and I'm still cleaning somebody, and it's like, what can I do to get there? Because I feel like as a CNA, like, we were just worked so hard, you know. And then seeing the nurses, I'm like, okay, they're passing meds, they got some time to do what they gotta do, and it's not as physically taxing in the nursing home, at least, because we have like the CNAs that do majority of like the legwork. So for me as a CNA, I was like, I need to make more money and do a little less.
Do you feel that there is conversation between CNAs, LPNs, RNs in the spaces you've been in?
What do you mean?
Like, when I think about, so my background's in education, and I think about a school, there's conversations teachers have with each other. There's conversations teachers have with paraprofessionals, with admin. Do you see that same relationship in the nursing space?
I think so. Any chance I get, especially when I go on the floor or if I go to a new facility, I always make sure I connect with my CNAs to make sure, like, hey, I always introduce myself, be like, hey, my name's Ablaj, like, I will be the nurse. Let me know if you need any help. Just to open up that door to be like, hey, I'm here to help you too. But also, like, I feel like me and the CNAs kind of complain together sometimes, because
Right.
like the management sometimes just be putting crazy ratios, and we're just talking to each other like, yeah, this is crazy. Like,
What is explain to me, what's the ratio?
for example, let's say we have a floor of 40 residents, and they're scheduled for 4 CNAs to take care of 40 people. But these 40 people, they can't walk, they can't stand, so we have to use mechanical lifts to get them up. Or sometimes they'll remove one of the CNAs from the floor to help out another floor. So then you're down 3 CNAs who are doing the care for the residents, and then it kind of stops the whole flow of how the day's supposed to go, because if they're not up to eat in time, if they don't get their meds in time because they're still in bed, or if they're have to be cleaned up and they're complaining and there's not enough staff, and then if there's a behavior, it gets addressed to the nurse, and then we have to kind of do something about that, and then the CNAs kind of get like overwhelmed, and we're getting overwhelmed. So it's just a lot of people getting overwhelmed, even the residents, because help's not being given to you when it's needed, and like we kind of get frustrated and complain, and we kind of bond by complaining, because 1, they should pay us more, and 2, there should be more staff, because if there was more staff, the night goes better, the day goes better, like you feel more comfortable doing your job. And especially as a nurse, like if there's not as much help from the CNAs, then we have to step in and take away from what we're doing. So it's just then we don't have a break, and then things happen, because the easiest part is passing meds. Right. If someone falls, forget about it.
I know that can be like a real troublesome, because now you got to worry about, okay, like how bad did they fall? Like do you need to provide like aid quickly, and
do you have to call the ambulance? Was it witnessed? Did they hit their head? If it wasn't witnessed, we got to send them out because they might have hit their head. We got to do neuro checks. It's just a whole bunch of checklists. Obviously, we're doing our job. We got to do that, but it just makes it more stressful when there's not enough staff. And it's like these facilities don't want us to be great. Like,
I feel like patient safety gets put at risk a lot when patient ratios aren't safe. For example, it was actually on the ballot back in, I want to say 2018 in Massachusetts, to mandate patient to nurse ratios. They recommended different acuity levels to have certain mandatory ratios. For example, rehab units, nurses wouldn't be able to have more than, I think it was 6 or 7 patients to 1 nurse. Med surg units, no more than 5 patients to 1 nurse. In the emergency room, no more than 6. In the ICU, no more than 2. And all those things are just for patient safety. So, for example, in their case, how they were talking about, there's delays in care. So if a patient rings a call out and you're short-staffed and there's not an LNA around, that patient has to wait even longer for somebody to help them get out of bed to get to the bathroom. Whereas if there's adequate staffing, somebody can get to that patient a lot sooner. And things like that help prevent things like falls. Because if a patient's waiting and they get tired of waiting, what are they going to do? They're going to try to help themselves get to the bathroom. Yep. And that puts everybody at risk. So I feel like when it comes to LNAs and nurses, there definitely is a lot of trauma bonding. I would say my perspective is a little different, because in the critical care space, there's not often too many CNAs. Sometimes it's just nurses working by themselves together, and it does create that collaborative effort. But as of right now, I work on a mixed unit, so there's med surg, telemetry, and ICU nurses as well. And we do have LNAs, but there's typically, I think for a unit of about 22 people, there's 2 LNAs that split the floor, and we all work together. So if vitals have to be done, the nurses will help out and get their vitals done, so that they know if all these call lights are going off, the LNAs aren't around to go do vitals for you. So we kind of chip in. For me, as a travel nurse, wherever I go, I'm new to the facility. So as Nablaj said, like, I do the same thing. I introduce myself. Because I'm used to not working with LNAs, I do typically do a lot of work by myself. If there's something I can do that I don't need an LNA for, I'm just going to do it. But
and an LNA stands for?
A licensed nurse assistant, or CNA, certified nurse assistant.
Same
different
thing.
language.
Yeah.
Okay.
But for my experience, because I'm not used to having that assistance there, I do work a little bit more independently. But I think it's good because, as you know, CNAs run around. They don't have time to sit. They don't have time to stop. So if there's something I can do to make their job a little bit easier, and it's not taking away from what I have as my responsibilities as a nurse, then I'll do those things as well. And it helps.
Where we share stories in the chair.
Look, it's my commercial. We will be right back.
It's more than just a bad hair day. It's a journey. Finding the right hairstyle isn't easy, nor is finding the right stylist or the right products. Looking in every corner of the web gets messy, overwhelming, and exhausting. All the ads, the articles, the products, the videos, it shouldn't be this hard, but it is. And now, it isn't. The Chair. A black and brown centered platform where you can design hair boards, connect to hairstylists, and share hair care tips for a new, joyful path on your hair journey. Avoid the clutter, save yourself hours, months, and even years of research and poor trial and error. Everything you need and only what you need is in one place. Hair boards made by people like you, for you. Find the right products, the right people, the right answers for you, stress-free. Join the Chair community and make every day a great hair day. When you share your pain, you allow others to help you. And when you share your success, you help others get theirs. Lean on the Chair. We got you. No stress, no strife. In the chair, the chair, the chair. All right.
Help me with my ignorance here. We have CNAs, we have LPNs, then it goes registered nurse, and then it branches off into very specific nursing careers,
Yes.
areas of expertise.
So me and Bang, we work in long-term care. So that's where the geriatrics elderly kind of go to like live for the rest of their life. And we call them residents because, well, that's what they tell us in training. Call them residents. They're not patients. They live here. So we're kind of just maintaining their regimen. You know, their family can't take care of them anymore. So we're just there to kind of
Like their quality of health.
their quality. Yeah. Or if, you know, they transition to hospice, you know, that's where they choose to do it, you know, and we do have hospice nurses coming in. But how it works is usually the CNAs are very important in the long-term space because they're the ones that do all the care. As she was saying, you know, how she's like, she does more of the work, you do more of the work. And when I heard that, because, you know, me and Abang, we work in long-term care, so I'm not exposed to the hospital. And I'm thinking, okay, hospital is not going to be as bad, you know. And then I hear the nurses saying that they do their own care. I'm like, oh, you do your own care?
You know, but I kind of like it like that. Because, like, when you're doing the care, you get less patients. Because I've worked in a group home with, like, 3 people, but there's only, like, one CNA, or they don't even call them CNAs. They call them, like, DSPs, which is, like, direct support professionals, something like that. And we have, like, three patients, but you're doing the care with them. So there'll be, like, 2 nurses and then 1 CNA caregiver, and we just do it like that.
Yeah, I feel like you're more involved. I find working on like my unit, because it's a mixed floor, like nurses want to know more about their patients. It's not that, I think there's just a little bit more responsibility in my area of nursing.
Definitely,
because although these patients that they deal with in long-term care are pretty dependent in terms of like ambulation and stuff like that, otherwise most of their patients have their faculties. Like they're aware of where they are, what they're doing, and there's things that they're able to do for themselves, whereas mine are more like medically incapacitated, where either they have orders where they can't get out of bed or stuff like that, or procedures that are hindering them from being able to do certain things. It's a little different. But in my setting, the patient ratios are a lot lower. Like most nurses on my unit don't have more than 5 patients. You have more hands-on care with who you're taking care of. And the reason why you want to kind of help the LNA in terms of like doing your vitals is like, what type of medication are you giving to this patient? You as the nurse would want to know like what their vital signs are looking like. So it just kind of makes it easier if you do it yourself. Yeah.
What do you think about sisterhood? I'm saying sisterhood because I'm just thinking about statistically that a lot of nurses are women, but you can say in terms of bonding, in terms of like collective responsibility, do you feel that care, that self-care, that communal care with other nurses, CNAs, LPNs?
Sometimes. I feel like if you're in long-term care and you're like a younger nurse, most of them are like older nurses who have been there for like a while. So like when they see you, they're like, I don't know, they just think of you as like their young daughter. So they're not really taking you serious. They're just kind of like, this young girl, yada, yada, yada.
And then a year in, you have your best friend. She's like 65.
Yeah, like then they become your best friends. Like it's a whole crazy dynamic. Because in the beginning, it's like you can have this person doesn't like you, and you're kind of like, okay, why don't they like me? It's like, okay, whatever.
Especially if you're a new grad.
Yeah.
Like if you're a new grad, you know, there's a saying, nurses eat their young, and it's like, for what? Like, why do we have to eat our young? How about we feed our young? How about that? Let's feed them knowledge. Like, and I feel, you know, the sisterhood aspects, now that I've been a LPN for 3.5 years now. The first year I was kind of lost, but now that I'm doing agency work and going to different facilities, when I see another nurse, I'm just like, I already know why we're here. We're both here. Oh, we probably do some overtime. We got things to save up for, or just like, oh, this is another job, or we can complain about something where we both kind of feel safe in complaining. But sometimes I like to do a little light complaining to see who I could complain to for real, because not everybody you could complain to, because they'll be like, well, you know, it's not that bad, and it's like, all right, I guess, never mind. So I feel like sisterhood is, especially being agency nurse, for example, like you can have staff nurse, which is like you work for the facility, but then you can be agency nurse, just like kind of Jodi was saying, like a travel nurse. You just go to the facility and nobody really knows you, you know, like you're just supplemental staff, you're helping them out. So when I see another agency, I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, another agency, like we're both excluded, let's both be excluded together, kind of thing. So like, I don't know, I feel like the sisterhood in like long-term care, or I can only speak from long-term care because that's my experience, but like last night, like it was 3 of us, we were all working the 16-hour shift, and by the 14th hour, the one girl's telling her life story about how she has 8 kids and her whole life story, and we're just like, wow. And then, you know, that's like another form of networking and just getting to know different experiences and other job opportunities. So I feel like that sisterhood of just initially, okay, boom, this is all of our jobs, like we have this in common, kind of brings like that rapport. So yeah, that's my experience with the sisterhood stuff.
I'd say from my perspective, sisterhood's really hard to find in the hospital, I feel. I've been a staff nurse in a hospital, and I'm originally from Massachusetts, but I worked in New Hampshire, and it's a very different culture up there. So that was already its own adjustment. Very different lifestyle for people that live in New Hampshire as well.
Can you give me an example?
I feel like life for people in New Hampshire is a lot more laid back. For example, Massachusetts has a lot of little cities and towns. A lot more people are more social within their community, outside, stuff like that. Whereas New Hampshire is a small populated state. Like, I think they only have 1.6 million people in the state.
Oh, because like rural.
Yeah, it's very rural. Very rural. Like, everybody has like their backyards and stuff like that.
Grass,
like,
green grass.
Everything's very different. Everybody's kind of far apart in a way, but still in their own community. So for me personally, I feel like finding sisterhood was a little harder because there were a lot of things I already can't relate to with most of the nurses around there. But then becoming a travel nurse, oof, I'm always just the new girl.
Just the target is always there.
The target's always on my back. So it's very different. I don't know. I don't know if I can say I've found sisterhood yet, but at the facility that I'm currently working at, I do love my coworkers. They're all very like nice, very chill people. Same thing. I feel like I do have like one coworker that's like my little auntie kind of vibe. And we chit chat about like whatever trips we're going on. Like she'll talk to me about her boyfriend and how he's flying her out somewhere, and I'm like, okay. So it's stuff like that. But yeah, you definitely do start to slowly get to know people, and you see who you vibe with.
Especially
stuff like
on the
that.
overnight shift at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
You talk about
you find out.
Telling everybody your business. Okay, maybe I shouldn't have said that, but
yeah, sometimes you might overshare.
Yeah, you might.
I definitely overshared tonight.
Some things you kind of like learn, like what's safe to talk about at work, and like you'll get to know your coworkers. You'll learn like who who can you trust, who can you talk to, because not everybody's your friend in nursing either.
Say it again.
You got to realize like who's for you, who's not. And
Yes,
I feel like in most facilities, everybody has like at least one or two coworkers that they're really cool with.
Oh, and if you're interested to learn more about my experiences as a Black woman and educator in Guangzhou, China, I wrote my first ebook titled Nowhere and Everywhere, Captured Emotions of a Beautifully Broken Love Story. It is on lulu.com. Take a read and see some beautiful photography of mine. Enjoy the rest of the show. In this idea of the nursing world, does it change identifying as a Black woman?
Absolutely.
100%.
I am not a nurse, but I follow all my, Black Instagram things, Facebook things. I read a lot, follow a lot of articles of things, and the Black nursing community always comes up. There's always various conversations about being Black in health. And so I'm curious what that looks like for you, or if you feel that intensity as in real life as much as I read it online.
I feel like nursing for me has exaggerated it. Like,
yes, you see it more.
Moving
than
through
your
life
actual
as a Black person, like you know, like life is different for you, and like you'll always experience microaggressions, stuff like that. But for me personally, like nursing showed me a whole different world of microaggression, like passive aggressive behaviors, purposely trying to exclude you from certain things. Like there's been times, like for example, I think it's like only 11% of ICU nurses are Black.
And when you told me that, it's like you're a unicorn, low key, because for example, how it works in certain specialties, you see like majority of white nurses there, like ICU, very cliquey, because ICU, they see them as like, wow, like they're the smartest nurses, you know what I mean? So it's like when Jodi told me about her experience about like, okay, she's a new grad and her first job was ICU, I was like, and you're Black? What? Where is that? So, and she was telling me her experience, and I'm thinking about my experience trying to get into the ICU, and it's just kind of sad that I know that I'm going to have to deal with a lot of those behaviors, and just I already know that people are going to think that like I'm stupid, or that they know more than me, or they're going to ask me like passive aggressive questions. Like I already know that, because I've experienced it just in long-term care, just as a CNA. And her telling me her experience about her as a new grad and just things like that, I'm like, wow. But she did it. And a lot of other nurses online that are new to the ICU or to specialties, they say the same exact thing. And some of them are just like, I'm not gonna let this beat me down, or they be literally crying on the internet because they be getting bullied, especially in the ICU. So
especially being a new grad, a new grad is very difficult.
It's so hard.
It's like what you learn in school is not what you're going to be doing at the job site.
You absolutely step into it like a whole new world.
Yeah, it's two different things.
Yeah, and I feel like in my experience, they can set you up sometimes. Like, for example, I did a new grad residency for my ICU program, and let's say there's 14 people in this program. 2 of us, I'm Black, 1 girl's Hispanic. We're the only people of color in that entire cohort. Everybody gets assigned a day shift nurse and a night shift nurse that you're going to work with for 6 weeks, a total of 12 weeks. We're the only 2 people that weren't partnered up with a consistent nurse for either of those shifts. So at the very beginning, you're set up to fail. Like, you lack the consistency that everybody else has. Like, there was a point where I was partnered with a new grad who started 3 months before me. I was partnered with a travel nurse.
Not safe.
Yeah. I was partnered with nurses that deal with like the most acute patients on the unit, even though I'm a new grad, so I shouldn't be starting that acute.
They want you to make you look like stupid.
And they did sit and talk with us and say that they didn't feel that we were up to the standards that they thought we should be like everybody else, but we were blunt and we're like, you didn't start us like everybody else, so what could you really expect from us, And there's things like that. There's things like the little microaggressions, like, for example, the providers are rounding. They're discussing patient care, what the goals are, what they want to do next, and a provider literally looked me up and down, searching for my badge. They finally found it, saw that it said RN, shrugged his shoulders, and proceeded to block me out of the room. So now I have to nudge past all these doctors to get into my own patient's room so I can hear what they're talking about, because I'm the nurse at the end of the day that they're going to give orders to. Or at this facility, there were no black nurses that were staff. So every time some doctor or physical therapist saw me, they'd be like, "Oh, are you a traveler?" Because the only black nurses there are travelers from Atlanta or Florida. And when I say, "Oh, I'm staff," they're like, "Oh, really?" Like, they're aware. So it's not like even they don't know the little things that they're doing, but I kind of looked at it as a necessary evil. Like, if my goal is to be a CRNA at the end of the day, and I know that I have to be an ICU nurse at some point in time, I'm just going to have to deal with this for the right now to get to where I know I want to go, type of thing. And I don't regret it. It was tough. It was definitely the hardest thing I've ever done, but I'm an ICU travel nurse, and that was my goal, so oh well.
Let's go.
It's just hard that we have to, like, I'm already setting myself up. I'm like, okay, this is what I'm going to experience. Let me just make myself more strong or resilient before this happens. And it's like,
What does that look like for you? Building resilience.
going into the ICU, I think building resilience to me looks like doing more research and making sure I know what I'm talking about. You know, making sure I don't make any type of mistake, even though I am, and learning how to take critiques not personal, even though it is personal because it happened to me, but not internalizing it and kind of being like, oh man, I can't do this, like I shouldn't come back to work, or just not showing them, like, I guess a weakness of like, oh, I can't do this, even though I think that in my head. I don't want them to know that, but just kind of trying to build my character up to kind of withstand like the backlash I might face, or just like the passive aggressiveness.
So it's a lot of preventative measures for yourself.
Yes, preventative.
I need to be the smartest person in the room, even though I'm a new.
Yeah, even though
Which
I'm
is
brand
horrible.
new. Which is
Because
which
it's
is
like
bad.
when you're new, you want to ask questions, and like when you're in an environment where like people kind of like act like you don't know what you're talking about, or like when you ask questions, it's like, okay, they don't want to answer the questions. Like you ask the question, and they're like, oh, you should know this. But it's
Oh,
like,
did you really ask? Did you really just ask that question?
It's like, oh, you should know this, but it's like I said, when you're new, you're doing something, even like, not even like a new nurse, like even going to like a different specialty, like you're going from like ICU to like med surg or ED
or labor delivery,
like all the different stuff. Like you want to ask questions, but at the same time, it's like it makes you even nervous to ask those questions. But without asking those questions, like mistakes can happen. And that's why you see stuff on like social media about people making mistakes, because like they're scared to ask the questions, because it's like, okay, you don't want your job to be at risk, but like they're questioning if you can do the job or not.
But not all nurses are like that. Like I've seen a lot of nurses, like me, for example. I would love to help, like, because I know how it feels being like so scared, or you're dealing with real life now. Because when you're in nursing school, okay, cool, practice online, whatever. But this is real life. And there are nurses out there that were like, we were new nurses too. Like we shouldn't be treating them this way. So there is a whole conversation about how to treat new grads, even in certain specialties and stuff. So I feel like there is hope for the future, but I feel like right now it is tough. But I'm happy to be a part of that future, and to make sure that these nurses feel that they are comfortable and they are, feel safe in what they're doing, and to ask questions. Like, please ask me all the questions. At the end of the day, you're going to be by yourself and you're going to be taking care of these people. So it has to be done like, well.
Well, thank you, Jodi, Nablaj, and Abang, so much for sitting in the chair and sharing your stories. I truly, truly appreciate it. I've learned a lot, and I'm so excited for everybody else to hear all of these stories.
Yay. Thank you for having us. This was a great experience. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
And for setting this up. Like, wow, who would have thought of this?
I know. If you ever want to do another one, just let me know.
Yeah, I would love to do more of these with more black nurses. This would be amazing.
So I could definitely, get some of my other friends.
Also very therapeutic. Just like
Yeah.
sit and talk.
Like
Yeah,
you too?
very.
Oh my God, same.
No, for real. Like, yeah, this was definitely a great experience. Thank you so much.
Welcome to the chair, where Miss Dream always has a story.
Thank you for listening to an episode of The Chair. I'm going to share with you a dream of mine. I would love to be on Sesame Street. Sesame Street held my hand through childhood. In my dream, I would be in my big afro or rainbow braids sitting on the stoop sharing hair stories. I would like your help, please, by doing all the things like leave a review, share it with someone who would benefit from hearing this episode. And if you know someone who knows someone who knows someone at Sesame Street, share your favorite episode with them, and I'll make you some of my famous chocolatey hot chocolate. I hope you have a beautiful day, or if you are like me, still up in the middle of the night, I hope you take a deep breath and rest. Love you. Talk to you later.
The chair.
Hello. Please leave a message after the tone.
Dream, hello. I just wanted to tell you you're wonderful. I just got through going through your podcast. Love you, love you, love you, love you. Keep it up. Maybe I need to send it to Oprah and Tyler Perry. Love you, baby. You are great.
Where we share